Hello everyone, welcome to Data Center Decoded next episode. We started this podcast series a few weeks ago to dive deep into the data centers. There are multiple aspects of it. There are demand related aspects, why they are required, and also how the data centers are designed, built, delivered, and operated. And we are going through each aspect one at a time. Today, we have Rajiv Ranjan from IDC with us. And what we will be focusing with Rajiv, we will be asking him why data centers are required, what kind of demand we are seeing for the digital infrastructure, what are those driving factors for those demands. Rajiv is the lead market researcher in IDC. He focuses on cloud and he focuses on data centers. Welcome to the show, Rajiv.
Thank you, Sharad, for having me on the show. The boom in the data center, the demand and the pace of digitalization, and not just digitalization, now it's the AI is a new game changer. I think data center is most important. It was never important than ever before. So we are excited to have this conversation with you.
Rajiv, just to start with, why data centers are required?
So, when I talk to my family that if you are accessing an app on a mobile phone or you are accessing something on a web, you are actually hitting any of the data centers in the country, and if these data centers are not there, you can't access anything on the electronic medium. So absolutely essential. I think data centers now have come a long way in India, much higher from simply hosting your applications and data, but then to also host your new age digital applications. It is not only hosting data centers in one or two centralized locations, where I think we're talking about 20 years back or even 15 years back, where the level of IT modernization was limited. Today, we are seeing the IT infrastructure is getting highly distributed. So you don't need just data centers in core major cities, but you need data centers everywhere in the edge locations. And in terms of design, in terms of the kind of infrastructure they have to host, I think they have become more complicated, more technologically advanced.
AI is being talked about as $1 trillion opportunity. Jensen in the last GTC keynote mentioned NVIDIA's projection to $1 trillion. Are we seeing some signals really quadrupling opportunity for us in India?
Honestly, yes. I think if you talk about 12 to 24 months back, the question was whether it's a bubble or whether we will really have business value or not, or whether it's all of more of hype. But today, I think IDC as a research firm, we are very optimistic about AI implementation happening across the world and in India. And we're also seeing enterprises getting the value, the business value, especially from AI agents implementation. So Gen AI largely on the content side, where it generates content. If we talk about AI agents, a lot of automation in terms of productivity use case which have been implemented, especially in the last 6 to 8 months. To give you a perspective on the growth, so IDC estimates now the total AI spending to reach around $17 billion by 2029.
In India?
In India, which is $3.6 to $4 billion right now, growing up till $17 billion. And if we compare the adoption of AI agents, we did a recent study, and we see that 42% enterprises have implemented AI agents in multiple business areas. Another 16% have done AI agent implementation in one business area, which is essentially at limited scale. So we're talking about 58% enterprises having implemented AI agents because they're seeing the business value in terms of productivity, new product innovation, a lot of automation activities. And as a country, we need to not only build AI services, the language models. There's a lot of work happening on the language model side, language specific LLMs, very use case specific LLMs and the small language models, which are curated to industry use cases. We also have to plan on the infrastructure side. As I said earlier, data centers will be critical in executing this AI. So success of AI depends not only on the application and software layer, infrastructure side as well. And I think amazing opportunity for the colocation service providers.
And let's focusing on that agentic AI. Are there any use cases you talk about?
Oh yes, if you talk about BFSI industry, so the scale of adoption varies. Currently, we are seeing at a smaller scale of adoption where most bank or insurance customers have implemented conversational AI. They're doing agentic AI for employee productivity improvement, frontline productivity improvement. A lot of these banks have also implemented for software development. They have automated a lot of manual processes. Going further, I believe, as the scale of AI implementation increases across industries, especially in BFSI, we believe threat detection, threat modeling, risk modeling, a lot of forensics management, in fact, automating a lot of data movement across different IT infrastructure locations will be automated by AI. So we do see a lot of opportunities in the BFSI industry. There's a lot of opportunities coming from the healthcare in medical imaging AI. Government is also pushing what is on early disease detection, and that will require managing large data sets, using their data sets, especially use cases like early disease detection. And that will definitely require the backend infrastructure to be very robust and scalable.
If we move forward from here, then these AI use cases, what kind of infrastructure that these companies are using currently and what do they plan to do? So let's say earlier there was a mix of on-prem or co-located or cloud adoption, certain mix. How the organizations are thinking around the infrastructure layer for the AI.
That's very interesting aspect, Sharad. Earlier, the thought process was that so hyperscalers went ahead. They were the first movers in deploying the AI infrastructure, bringing most of the AI language models on the platforms. And that was the obvious choice for the enterprises to go on public cloud platforms to source Gen AI or agentic AI services. But that's on a very smaller scale. So if you have to run a specific set of 4 or 5 features, or maybe agentic AI services in marketing and sales, hyper-personalization of your marketing sales team, or productivity or code development, public cloud platforms are great. But then now what we see across the globe and in India, enterprises are largely taking a hybrid approach in setting up their AI infrastructure. So in a recently concluded study by end of December 2025 in US and Canada, we asked this question to close to 500 enterprises about what is your strategy on AI infrastructure. And 75% of them, they said we'll take a hybrid strategy. If you see across the globe and a very similar trend in India, only 40 to 45% of agentic AI implementations and workflows will be on public cloud. But the rest, good 55 to 60% of the deployments will be either on-premises or co-location in these two areas. It could be in a 3-tier architecture or a private cloud. So there is a massive build-out happening in terms of deploying this agentic AI workflows on-prem, on colo. And the reasons are very clear now. So enterprises are not only looking for cost is one case, because if you scale your AI implementations in public cloud, it's going to cost a lot. Definitely, public cloud brings you the scale and flexibility, but there are certain workloads where the flexibility will not matter. Enterprises are looking for more cost-effective ways. Performance, I think there are a lot of latency sensitive applications. To add to that, I think data security, regulatory pressures and security restrictions actually are pushing enterprises to consider putting these AI workloads on-prem. So I think there is definitely a lot of opportunity coming on-premise in setting up this AI workloads, especially the AI inferencing workloads. You can train an AI model on a public cloud, but then as your data set increases, or if your training requirements go increasing, it keeps on increasing with time. I think it makes more sense in terms of cost to come on-premise and train those specific models as well.
Cloud adjacency becomes very important.
Yeah.
That you be close to the public cloud or LLMs where the trainings are happening, and then you go and take a co-location service where you co-locate your dedicated setup, which could also be termed as an on-prem, but in a dedicated setup in a private cloud way, and it's still adjacent to the cloud so that the consistent training gets fed into this setup for the inferencing purposes.
When it comes to AI, most enterprises or end users talk and plan for the compute, which is very important. But then you will see as AI scales in co-location or in public cloud, your storage becomes very important. And then more than that, the network infrastructure has to be very fast enough. So your cloud adjacency, so placing your AI workloads or your private AI infrastructure close to the public cloud will be very important. And the reason why I'm saying is, today in India, public cloud market is close to $15 billion, expected to reach somewhere around $35 billion by 2029, which means enterprises are going on public cloud. 82% enterprises in India have tried public cloud at any scale, at a limited or larger scale. And most of these customers are hybrid multi-cloud. So they are running a highly distributed infrastructure. So they have workloads based on on-prem, co-location, at edge locations and public cloud. So your data and applications as they travel across these locations, your latency becomes higher. So your cloud adjacency for a colo service provider becomes very critical, because while your application must be running on a public cloud, your data might be residing on a colocation service provider, right? At a colo or a private on-prem infrastructure. As the distance is minimized, I think it improves the performance of the applications. So that cloud adjacency today, it becomes a very critical factor.
Rajiv, the banking and financial sector of India is the biggest consumer of the technology, and it has taken a certain approach towards usage of technology, dedicated setup, the way it has done for the technology in their either on-prem or in colo facilities. How are they expected to adapt AI going forward?
BFSI industry has been a front runner in adopting most of the technologies. We have been seeing banks, insurance companies adopting the public cloud mainly for customer-facing applications. Of course, there has been some resistance or a very conservative approach on putting critical data on the public cloud in India, but I think the mindset is evolving. On the AI portion, they are also one of the early adopters of agentic AI, where they have gone implementing AI agents, especially for front line productivity improvement, code generation. But I think going forward, we do see a lot of implementation of agentic AI in fraud detection, risk modeling, data and forensics management. I believe today, if they have to scale their AI infrastructure, the game is very different. It's not about putting up a traditional colocation data center with a couple of racks. Power and cooling will be easy to manage. But today, I think for agentic AI, if you have to build an AI optimized data center, banks have to consider a lot of things to build a data center, ranging from land acquisition, power purchase agreements. Earlier, we were talking about rack power densities up till 20 kilowatt range. Today, the rack power densities for AI workloads will cross anywhere between 50 to 150 kilowatts. So how do they secure the power purchase agreements? How do they ensure sustained power is acquired? Second is liquid cooling, which will be required anywhere between more than 30 to 35 kilowatt of rack power density. So how do they ensure they procure the liquid cooling technology and manage themselves on their own? And there are sustainability aspects also to meet the metrics, to meet the ESG goals. So I believe this is a time, it is not only about optimizing your AI infrastructure, choosing the right compute storage platforms, the language models. This is a time I think banking industry need to understand and plan for their co-location strategy as well.
What I have seen, Rajiv, is that banking and financial sector has adopted to co-location strategy to some extent. But there are multiple other industries who are probably not even thinking about these aspects related with how will the density grow and power density grow, and because of that, renewable energy related challenges, sustainability related challenges, infrastructure availability, security, safety related challenges. Probably they haven't thought about that. Have you seen what are the other industries who also need to look into it in the very different ways, and especially the 500 CIOs that IDC surveyed, were they thinking about the infrastructure aspects yet in their priority?
Across the globe, when we did this research study across different industries ranging from manufacturing, retail, healthcare, telecom and government, one aspect was very clear, what I shared earlier. Enterprises are going hybrid for the AI infrastructure study, AI infrastructure deployment. And private AI infrastructure will become more and more common in these data centers. In terms of AI implementation use cases, there are ample. If you talk about retail industry, personalization, there's a lot of AI implementation coming on, demand forecasting, inventory management and fulfillment, hyper-personalization for the customer experience. If we talk about manufacturing, I think preventive AI will be a lot used there, basically to detect any fault in the machines and all. Digital twins are actually getting implemented.
While they are thinking about all those use cases on all the other industries, are they still thinking AI on the cloud, AI on-premise, AI in the colo facility? Are they thinking beyond the application chips and the AI infrastructure to the level of the planning their data center colocation or data center strategies also.
What becomes very important is that where do you want to place your applications? Closer to the users or the industry use case, or far away? So in this aspect, we see the edge infrastructure getting more and more modernized. First, we are seeing two important trends here. One, the edge AI is getting modernized to public cloud models, where we see a lot more consumption-based models coming on edge. And second, AI inferencing workloads, which we believe in the next 2 to 3 years will come on the edge locations.
Okay.
And these edge locations are nothing but data centers which are there in far-reached locations in India. Today, if you see data centers in India, mostly concentrated in cities like Mumbai and Chennai, but there are manufacturing clusters in different parts of the country. We have e-commerce or online users across the country, so we need to have content hosting and industrial use cases. Wherever there is a manufacturing factory or a hospital or any industry specific use case, the edge data center, I think, is slowly evolving, and these are the facilities where we will see more AI inferencing workloads to be deployed. So I think edge data center infrastructure, edge AI infrastructure will grow more and more in India, across the globe, and India as well.
And all of that is also dependent on what kind of innovations are we able to drive or be able to facilitate in the country. AI Impact Summit that India hosted this year was a great success in my view, because they planned X number of participants and turnout was 5 or 6x of that. And it feels like there is a great momentum there. What have you seen? What kind of innovations in AI happening just focused on India, which could help India use cases more and more in a very Indian way, in a very indigenic way?
Yeah, great. I think India AI Summit was not just an event, but I think it is a structural shift in how we are building the entire AI ecosystem in the country, and also how the global companies in other countries are seeing India. So there has been a talk that the skill level is a great advantage for India. We create a lot of engineers in India who can build language models, who can actually build different AI services. But now I believe from a research point of view, we see multiple areas or multiple types of organizations or AI services which are growing in India. One is the hyperscalers who have been building the AI infrastructure in their public cloud regions. But I think now we are also seeing the new cloud service providers, some of these companies which are mostly India-based companies who are building their private cloud GPU clusters and offering GPU cluster as a service. Now, these neo cloud service providers have been hosting their services in most of the co-location service providers. Now, these kind of solutions will cater to specialized AI use cases by industry, where a end user like a bank or a manufacturing or a retail healthcare company wants to train their language models. First of all, create a language model specific to their use, which will be essentially a small language model. So I think a lot of these neo cloud service providers are building the GPU cluster as a service, offering to the end users who will be ultimately the consumers of these services. The third aspect what we are seeing is the IT services industries who are now transforming and building their own GPU cloud or AI cloud. And lastly, I would like to call out the startup companies who are building their country-specific language models like the Sarvam AI or Jarvis or even the BharatJet. I think they are the ones who are actually driving the application of the model-specific services. I feel very happy to see that the government of India is supporting this through India AI mission. We have already deployed 38,000 GPUs in the country, and they are bringing and giving the opportunity to this startup companies who are building their language models, the neo cloud service providers who are able to establish the GPUs.
So if we see that overall, there are hyperscalers building the AI infrastructure in the country to serve the India demand. And then they are bringing the large language models from the frontier models that developed in the rest of the world, in the US and elsewhere. There are Indian companies developing the large language models or industry-specific small language models to serve the India-specific use cases. There are neo clouds over the world. There are neo clouds coming up in India to enable AI mission kind of an approach, or to be able to also provide the AI infrastructure to companies like Servam, etc.
Absolutely. And you see here, if you carefully look into this, the data center service providers are there in the center because they host the hyperscalers to build the public cloud regions, which in turn are also hosting the GPU as a service, the language models. I'm talking about the AWS or the Google Cloud or Azures of the world. The colo providers also have an opportunity to host the new cloud service providers, which in turn will be selling the GPU cluster as a service for training large language models or offering it to run the actual inferencing workloads to end users. There's also an opportunity for data center service providers to directly service the end user community like the BFSI or manufacturing or retail companies who want to bring their own tech stack in terms of the GPU cluster, compute, storage, networking, and house it in the data center service and run their AI models. And it could be training a model, creating a model, or it could be taking off-the-shelf model, tuning it to the industry use case and running it from a data center. So I think the opportunity lies with the data center strategy. I think the future is exciting in terms of colocation service provider. Having visited your facility, I think you're doing some of the good things in terms of building the AI optimized data centers for your end users, and the strategy looks very compelling and robust.
Thank you, Rajiv, for coming, and thank you for taking our questions and providing your insightful answers.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much for tuning in and watching this episode. As you can see that AI is creating a lot of opportunities for data centers, and India is at the right place to be able to address these opportunities as well. Thank you so much for your time.